Well, this is my first live video, and I'm a little nervous. I didn't plan this. I just thought maybe people would like to see a little bit of Alaska. And today is Wednesday, April 2nd. Am I right? I don't know. 3rd? Could be. I didn't look. The temperature in my truck says 34 degrees. Yesterday it said 29 degrees, and that's Fahrenheit. So we get a little bit of sun. See the blue sky over there? That's where I want to be. But we get a little bit of sun, and it usually is enough to warm up the asphalt where the ice starts to melt. But then it freezes again. And it'll probably keep doing this for a couple more weeks. And we probably won't start seeing green leaves until Mayish, middle of May. That over there is the crux of my existence. I hate it more than I can tell you, and I don't use the word hate very lightly. That is the landfill that nobody asked us if we were okay with it being that close. I actually have my internal air turned on in my truck because it stinks. And I live miles away from this spot, and you can smell it. It didn't always used to be it. We didn't have to hear the sound of the highway. The landfill wasn't here. You know, we had bird sounds and wind in the tree, but now it's landfill. You can't even sleep with your windows open anymore because it absolutely reeks like a rotten egg and a really nasty fart had a baby. It's really gross. Anyway, this is Alaska. On a map, you will see this highway marked as A1, the A1 highway. This is in fact the Glen Highway, Glenn, the Glen Highway. Alaska really only has one highway. It just depends on where you are as to what it's called. If I were to continue the other way, right now I'm heading south. If I were to head the other way, north, it would turn into the Parks Highway. But if I continue going north, there's a point where this stops being the Glen Highway and becomes the Seward Highway. Seward as in the guy who bought Alaska from the Russians. It looks really dismal. I get it. At this point of the year, this is really awesome. I am sorry that you are seeing this the way that it looks right now. In the winter, when it's full on snow, it is so pretty with the, white everywhere. And when it gets super cold and all the hoarfrost is on the trees and everything is just sparkly and gleaming white, it's actually a lot more pretty. But this is what we get right now. This is called breakup. It's kind of dismal out here. I probably won't ever, at least I'm not ready yet, to show myself in a video. I'm not terribly comfortable doing that just yet, but maybe someday. The next overpass that we come to is the Fort Richardson off-ramp. All this property on my right is the Army base. I'm sorry, Army post. Air Force based Army post. But they call it J-Bear, which is new, and I hate that too because it hasn't always been that way. J-Bear, I guess, stands for Joint Base. I don't know. I never looked into it. J-Bear. Joint Base Elmendorf. Oh, Elmendorf Richardson. Elmendorf, because Elmendorf is the Air Force Base. I am going to tattle on myself a bit here, and I am doing 5 over the limit in the slow lane, and I have people passing me like I'm holding them up. One day when maybe I'm not the one driving, I can slow down a little bit and show you a little bit more about what's on either side of the road. Or maybe we'll do this one night when it gets a little darker, but now it's turning into summer and it's not going to get much darker. Sunset isn't until after 7:30 already, and this month the sunset was about 3:30 in the afternoon. So we're gaining daylight very quickly, and on the right there is a very handy bike path that goes at least to Eagle River. No, it goes past because I've been the other way. There's a very long bike path that you can ride all the way into and through and all around Anchorage, and going back up north. I don't think I've ever ridden it to the end going north, but I know at least it goes to Mirror Lake. I don't think it quite goes to Thunderbird Falls, but it goes quite a bit north. I don't know if you've noticed the mileposts yet. They're getting smaller because milepost 1 is actually in Anchorage. I don't think I've ever actually found the number 1 milepost. But if you start going down the Seward Highway out of Anchorage towards south, they'll start getting bigger again. So if you're lucky enough to have cell reception when you get stuck somewhere on your way to Seward or Homer or Sterling or any place like that, if you're lucky enough to have service, you got to make sure you tell them the milepost and the highway. But like I said, it's all one highway. The milepost just gets smaller as they go towards Anchorage and bigger as they come out. This is probably the most boring thing you'll watch in a while. Honestly, I never expected to ever do this. I am not a fan of sharenting, where you post all your kids, everything they ever did or what they said and everything in the world. I don't have any other, I'm doing air quotes while I'm holding the wheel, I'm doing air quotes, social media. I have no social media because I read all the privacy statements, and basically the privacy statements say you don't have any. But I posted one video that has always made us laugh every time we watch it, of kiddo. He was laughing his butt off. Everybody thinks, oh, he's crying, oh, he's throwing a tantrum. He really wasn't. He was laughing. But I posted that one video and it got so many views. Thank you for that. It got so many views, which was unexpected and not the reason I did it in the first place, that I get a message from YouTube that says, hey, you're a partner now. And I said, what? But, so there's that. So now I have the ability to make live videos. I will strive to make them more interesting instead of just driving down the highway. But this is the first moment that I've had in probably 2 weeks to myself where I could actually try to be creative instead of listening to my Mr. Ballin podcast, which I love, my Run Pool podcast by Rodney Barnes, and Mr. Ballin's Medical Mysteries. I listen to Thoughty too, and subscribe to all of them on my channel because I like interesting facts and things that are true presented in. I like the strange, dark, and mysterious presented in story format, says Mr. Ballin. And I like Run Fool because even though those are fictitious, he tells you the story in such a way that even in an audio story, I have gotten a few jump scares. That's awesome. What else do I like to do? I take care of several people, including their homes and, you know, medical appointments and prescriptions and etc. Among 3 households, there are 8 cats and a standard poodle, and we did have a fish, but we got some ghost shrimp or glass shrimp from the pet store because the one little molly that we had looked lonely, and the day after we got the ghost shrimp, the molly died. So whatever was in the water from the pet store killed our lone fish. So now I have invisible shrimp in a fish tank, and you can't even see them. On my left, if you can see it, I don't know if you can see that air traffic control tower there in front of us. That is the control tower for Merrill Field. It is one of the biggest small aircraft airports in the country. Alaska has Alaska has more small aircraft per capita than I think any place else in the U.S. You might want to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure that's true. There's even a scrapped FedEx airplane over there that is used for training. And yes, they actually flew it here and landed that sucker right on the tarmac. And I can't even imagine trying to land, I don't know what model of airplanes those are. I presume it's a Boeing. But landing that right there on that little tiny airstrip, can you say pucker factor magnitude infinite? Jeez Louise. There you go. Anchorage welcomes you. I took some friends there last summer that were visiting from out of country, and we went over there to take their picture, and there were